Well, welcome everyone to home. Tonight's topic, we will be talking on righteousness, and Phuntsok will lead us in meditation, conversation, Q&A, and a closing meditation. And our dear teacher Phuntsok has been teaching home for the last 10 plus years, providing us with the dharma and with Sangha. And he was also a monk for 21 years. I'm still so shocked every time I recall that fact. Um, yeah, so we're so grateful to be with you, Punsak, and to be learning from you and to be in community because of you. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
So tonight's topic, I will read the description. This was actually a request from me to explore righteousness. So, is it a quality we want to strive for and cultivate, or one that distracts us from the path? Colloquially, it can be used as both a compliment and an insult. It can carry so many connotations, and we are so easily tempted into the very natural and understandable question of whether it is good or bad. Let's take a look. How does Tibetan Buddhism relate to the concept of righteousness? Is it objectively good or bad? Can it be both? Can it be neither? How come whenever we want a simple answer, Buddhism gets so real? Some things emerge into being, some things are created, some things are sought, some things are received. Fundamentally, there may be no distinction between any of these. But we are more than only the fundamental. We are also that which resides on top of the foundation. We must consider the entire being when exploring the path. Join us this week to deepen into the lens of psychology and psychology of Buddhism.
Thank you very much. Okay, so we know the drill. We'll do a meditation first and then get into the topic. So first, just make sure before you even attend to your body, whenever you're meditating, before you even attend to the posture, first attend to your intention, your motivation, and that will help sort of set everything in the right place. Okay, so think about the motivation. I'm going to enter meditation, and no need to impose upon the body what meditation is supposed to be. Don't go into philosophy. Just feel what's in the depth of your being, what the word meditation is supposed pulling you into. And just stay feeling that, and let the rest of your let the rest of your being, the different dimensions, the physical, the energetic, the emotional, the mental, let them respond to that call, and feel connected to these different dimensions in a palpable way, so that the intelligences within these different dimensions, you can feel their communication and respond to their communication. When they give you advice, you're going to meditate, great. Make sure your legs are like this. You just feel it, and then you make the adjustment. So you feel stability, you feel comfort in the legs. And as you scan the posture, as you scan the physical body, you feel that the physical body is entering meditation. Make sure every part is comfortable as well as stable. The comfort will ease into the ecstatic aspect of meditation. The stability will ease us into the stability, the collected attention of meditation. The arms, or even the back, is upright and yet comfortable. Head and neck centered, mouth, teeth, tongue resting in their natural places, eyes resting softly. And there should be a sense of confidence in the posture itself. When that measure of confidence arises, then gently bring your attention to the breath. Not needing to control the breath, simply observe the breath. Be with the breath. As you breathe in, you just know you're breathing in. You're aware you're breathing in, or not anticipating breathing out. When you're breathing out, you're simply aware that you're breathing out, not anticipating breathing in, not chasing away perceptions and feelings and different perceptions that arise while you're attending to the breath, and not grasping onto any pleasant experiences, any wanted experiences that are arising, but simply stay centered and using the breath as the center. Every once in a while, you may become aware that, there are tensions here and there in the physical body. By simply acknowledging them and simply wishing to be free of them, you let them go. And when you let them go, notice the signs that you're going deeper into meditation begin to enhance. And rejoice when you're noticing the enhancement in the calm, the enhancement in the pleasantness. And begin to notice as if silence has a sound to it. And it's beginning to be more and more palpable. So without grasping at it, without pushing the things that are not it, just stay aware of it to whatever measure that it is present. And eventually notice a slight shift in the breath, in the very behavior of the breath. Welcome it, stay with it, and think of it as an indication that the different dimensions of you are more aligned and more prepared to enter more fully into the meditation. With that indication, we will now take 3 full breath, full conscious breath. Breathing in fully through the nose, holding the breath for comfortably double the period of time, if that's, you can do that, and releasing through the mouth. And as you release, really release physically, energetically, mentally, noticing the signs of calm, the signs of pleasantness, and the inner sensations are getting stronger. So gently, fully breathe in, hold the breath, relaxing, strengthening your motivation, making your intention clearer, and release. And as you release, notice yourself actually going deeper into the calm, deeper into the pleasantness, deeper into the clarity and radiance. Welcome this depth. Stay at the level that you've reached, that the out breath has actually taken you to. Leave the breath alone, let it return by itself, and just stay in that new calm, rejoicing, that new pleasantness, that new indirect indicators of clarity and radiance, the inner sensations, whatever they may be for you, rejoicing, staying in that. Make the intention to go even deeper. Take another full breath, gently, fully breathe in, hold, relaxing, strengthening determination, making motivation clearer, and release. Noticing yourself going even deeper into those very signs, rejoicing, leave the breath alone, let it return by itself. Just stay there, noticing the new depth of the calm, the new depth of the pleasantness, the clarity and the radiance of awareness through the sensations being stronger, more vivid, more present, and a sense of attention being more collected through the sound, as it were, of silence becoming stronger. And for the third time, gently, fully breathe in, hold, release. Stay there, leave the breath alone. Notice the new strength of the calm, the pleasantness. Notice the new strength of the clarity and radiance. Notice the strength of the more collected attention. Notice the strength of that silence that seems to be louder. But don't grasp at anything. Don't chase away anything. Stay centered. Within that sense of being centered, acknowledge whatever is present, whatever is part of experience, physical, inner, outer, emotional, mental, energetic, whatever is perceived in an experience, know that all that are but appearances or the molding of authentic nature, molding of just pure possibility, pure infinite possibility, having been molded into these experiences, these various expressions. And know that your very body is an expression of that. Your thoughts, your ideas, your sense of self, all these are but expressions of this completely free, completely pure state, authentic purity, authentic potential, pure potential. And there are appearances that takes us closer to that authentic freedom, and there are appearances that takes us further away from them. So wishing for an appearance because for some reason we're not able to directly observe just the pure fundamental state, just the pure ground. So we would like an appearance that reflects that by seeing it, by interacting with it, by perceiving it, it gives us that glimpse, it gives us that conviction. And if that is motivated by having perceived suffering, your own and others, and wishing that perception would aid in alleviating that suffering, and the sincerity of that wish motivated by that measure of compassion molds that very fundamental ground into the appearance that will fulfill that for you. It is your own fundamental nature taking an appearance as a guide, as a protector, as a reminder. And just seeing that appearance, you feel gratitude, you feel trust, you feel reverence. And as you're expressing and feeling these sentiments, you feel yourself going deeper into the meditation state, deeper into the clarity and radiance, deeper into the calming and peace, deeper into the pleasantness and the sense of ecstasy. And just keep allowing it to take place. It's not something that you're manufacturing, but something that is already there, and you're allowing yourself to go deeper into it. And that presence is helping you to get closer to it. And connect this motivation, molded by your compassion, connected with the topic that we are going to go over, that you're going to cover, and consider whatever concerns you have, whether it is social, whether it is physical, whether it is mental, whether it is energetic, whatever the concern may be. Know that you are at this very moment doing the most powerful, the most pragmatic means of addressing that concern. So that part of you that is worried about those, let that relax. You're taking care of them in this very moment. And appeal to your mind to be open so that you can make the most of this session. Feeling a sense of readiness. Now, this appearance, whose very perception reminds you of something meaningful, something worthwhile, is going to make a teaching through its very appearance. It sends light throughout space, dissolving time and space and all things within it into light. And that light is absorbed in your consciousness, in your awareness. And just stay with that for a few seconds. And without philosophical wanderings, just know this: through this demonstration, the ground of reality was just pointed to you. and get ready to come out of the meditation. First, be aware of the meditation state itself. Rejoice that you're indeed, to some measure, experiencing meditation. And with the intention to come out, take a nice deep breath and release it. And as you release it, gently, fully reconnect with your immediate surroundings through the sense of touch. Be aware of the temperature, the feel of your clothing, the feel of your seat. Be aware of the different sounds and allow your eyes to take in light, noticing colors, noticing shapes, noticing lights and shadows. Okay. All right, let's get right into it. And I'll try not to go over. After, yeah, you're all laughing, right? I'll try again this session not to go over the time that we're supposed to. Um, so let's get right into it. Righteousness. Now, when you think of that term, um, I think perhaps for a lot of people, especially people who grew up in some sort of some sort of religion, and and that term may have been used quite a while, and perhaps also you may have developed a kind of dysfunctional relationship with that term. Okay. But when you think of that term, there are we could say two kinds of people that come to mind. When we think of spiritual people that we admire, the saints, the saints, the prophets, the angels, the deities, the enlightened ones, yogis and yoginis. When we think of them, these are the spiritual people that we admire, we easily apply the term, "Oh, they are righteous," without any sense of discomfort when we are using it. But at the same time, also it's like the term righteous has evokes two opposite things at the same time within us: admiration and then the opposite of admiration, disdain. And so, what is it about this term that creates this within us? Like um, when we are talking about someone that we admire, or we are thinking about someone that we admire, we think of them as we think of them admiringly with the term righteous, or what a righteous person. But there are certain people that we don't like so much, and then we use the term also to describe that person, right? Oh, that person thinks is so righteous. So, so you could say there is uh, a way of relating with that term that is you could say the right way of relating with it. And there is a way of relating with that term that is not the right way of dealing with it. So let's talk first about the that term itself. I don't think there is actually a Buddhist direct term for righteous. Um, there are some translators who have translated certain terms to mean righteous. And you find I think there is a chapter in the Dhammapada where some translators have translated the title of that chapter as the righteous chapter. And in there, and we encounter that it's not just us who have this sort of like a double meaning for that term. Even in that chapter, there's presented double meaning, double expression, double ways of relating with that term, and it is just the way that we use it, where it's a way of it's both it's a compliment and at the same time it's a harsh criticism, the harshest criticism. So we have to be careful so that how do we live in the Dharma? How do we practice our spirituality so that uh, we end up ourselves in the where if others were to talk about us in terms of righteousness, that it's good for them, it's good for us. And rather than where if they were to talk about us in terms of righteousness, it means that we've strayed away in the very path that we're trying to be on. Right? So the term itself is not is neither inherently good or inherently bad, but rather its approach. And we just like when we consider someone in the in the way that we would criticize them, or the way that we would be criticized if we were to say that they are righteous, we have to be careful, but not falling into that very falling into those very characteristics ourselves, where we end up when criticizing someone as being wrongfully righteous, that we and ourselves are actually living that wrongful righteousness kind of thing. Okay. Uh, um, I'm remembering not just an excerpts from that chapter in the Dhammapada where um, where the Buddha is talking about um, uh, I would not call uh, someone righteous just because they are ordained. I would not call someone righteous just because they happen to be an elder. I would not call someone righteous just because they happen to be a leader. So what makes someone that you could say that someone could be a righteous leader, someone could be a righteous monk, someone could be a righteous elder. But at the same time, these very people who, by their status, they are called ordained. By their status, they are called elder. By their status, they're called leader. Doesn't even though these statuses are supposed to, in an ideal way, supposed to be derived at, supposed to be obtained through practicing some sort of righteous path. The interesting thing about the righteous path is that you must not consciously uh, you must not consciously seek it. You must simply just find yourself there. And it is not something for self-reference. It is really something for others to observe. Even though it is and this is where we may find ourselves actually falling into the faults of it, where since it is something that others are supposed to observe, not something that we're supposed uh, to reveal to others, oh, by the way, I'm righteous, kind of thing, but rather others are supposed to say, oh, such and such a person is righteous, right? So because we observe that, yeah, it is something that people point to. So we want there is the desire, there is the wish, and it's natural for when others, especially if we are on the spiritual path, that we one day can become the person that they point to and say righteous. And instead of arriving there, we try to basically we think we're doing we think we're doing tantra, we're doing some high practice, but the one of the main characteristics of tantra is pretend. How does it go? Pretend until you make it. How does it go? Pretend until you make it, or something like that. Act until you, yeah. Well, you know what I'm talking about. Pretend until you make it. Is that the exact term?
Thank
Fake it.
What was it? Oh, yes, fake it. Fake it till you make it. So we may think ourselves to be doing some sort of well, I can fake to being righteous, and then eventually by faking it, I'll make it. But this aspect of this kind of faking it, unfortunately, doesn't work with righteousness. Okay, that is to find yourself as righteous. In fact, the reason for that is uh, ego, or for lack of a better term, um, uh, attachment to identity. Okay. So because of the danger of that, and if we pretend to be righteous, there's a danger of ego uh, 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 hijacking that. And then we find ourselves in the wrong path where we will be the ones who are criticized as being righteous. Okay. So when someone is, let's look at when someone is referred to as being self-righteous, what is it that we consider? We think that the person is think of their own morality as being superior to others. So you can see here where ego is taking is has taken root, as where ego has become crystallized. So the path towards proper righteousness is to let go of ego. And when we see the saint, when we see the person that we admire, the yogi, and then we say, oh yeah, this person living a righteous, this person is righteous, is because we to the degree that we are able to witness, so that person has shed a lot of ego. And yet when we want to be accepted, when we want to be admired, either because we've had some sort of trauma of rejection in some form or another, and it creates the fear of a great fear of rejection. Then we see being righteous as being the highest status that we can achieve, where we will be sort of like immune from ever being rejected ever. So we try to take that on, but instead of allowing it to mature and to ripen in its natural way, where we end up being righteous, we try to take on those qualities. But unfortunately, we have ego already very much alive. It is ego that is making us afraid of rejection in the first place. So ego will eat this up. And when ego takes it up, and the opposite happens. So we think of righteous person as being moral. So we think of our morality as being superior to others. And in this way, instead of when we are shedding ego, what we are actually incorporating more and more, what we are living more and more is we are living with the reality more and more of interbeing, of interdependence, that there is no me without other. Me and other are intricately, intricately, you know the word, intr and oh boy, they are very close. Me and other are very close. They are interconnected in such a way that it's very difficult for you to find the boundary where it's a, this is where me begin, this is where other, this is an absolutely where me begin, this is absolutely where other begins. Okay. And because of this living, this interbeingness of reality, then ego is shed. But when we are thinking of our my morality is superior than your morality, then we are strengthening the sense of separation. We are strengthening the sense of me and you having definite ultimate boundaries, ultimate demarcations, where this is absolutely me and that's absolutely you, where there is no interconnection whatsoever. Okay. So because of observing the morality of the righteousness, then we think of the self-righteous person, think of their morality as being superior to the other. And this is considered to be like one of the Buddha presented that as one of the uh, like the most dangerous attitudes to adopt, where we consider our system, whatever the system may be. So you can have uh, um, Buddhism as a system, and then within Buddhism, there are many subsystems, and you consider my system is superior to the others, or you consider Buddhism itself to be superior to the others. But if you recognize it, what is actually happening is that there's a reinforcement of separation. There's a reinforcement of ego taking place. Maybe when we if we remember, one of the things that the Buddha, uh, one of the phrases that an enlightened being is able to say, it sounds like the biggest ego trip ever, where the Buddha say, "Among beings, I am supreme." That sounds like the biggest ego trip ever, right? But when you are abiding in truth, when you are recognizing the interbeingness of all things, and you are living in that, and you are existing within that, then the statements that you make are reflections of that very truth. So when the Buddha says, among sentient beings, I am supreme, it's not that the Buddha is uh, um, stuck to his ego. It's not that his ego grasping. And in fact, there's no ego grasping whatsoever. But what the Buddha is actually saying is when you come to abide in your authentic nature, when you come to realize and live into being, you are supreme among the different expressions of reality. Right? That's what it means. It's like it's the supreme, it is the best way to be, rather than among all the people, then you are better than them, but rather it is the best way to be. And if you look at the stream of your being, all the different expressions that you've had, especially within the expression within samsara, then that comparison is living outside, no longer being subject to samsaric existence. It's a supreme way of being. Okay. So being able to make that a truth statement that is not ego clinging. But when we have ego clinging, that we're still very much subject to our ego, very much driven by ego. Basically, I'm absolutely completely separate from you. Then it's a dangerous thing to think that my system is supreme. You may indeed have found a system that is supreme in a sense that it is the best system for you. And indeed, it is supreme, but only relatively speaking. But when ego grabs onto that, then it makes it as if everyone should be following this specific system that I'm following. I don't eat gluten. I don't eat this. Everyone should be doing that. That's what everybody should be doing. Anybody who's not doing that, there's something wrong with them. Okay, so that's reinforcing ego, basically reinforcing the very thing that is responsible for the reason why you are seeking righteousness in the first place. So instead of getting closer to the actual righteousness, we are actually distancing ourselves from righteousness. So this kind of sense of superiority of my system, superiority of my morality, there is that sense of constantly separating oneself from other. And that creates natural sense of condemnation. It's naturally create a sense of uh, of wanting to it damages compassion. It damages those qualities that are absolutely necessary for the path. It's the qualities and the characteristics that are necessary in for experiencing deep at a deeper and much deeper level the reality of interbeing. It distances us from being able to experience the pure nature of freedom that is our fundamental nature. So so among the possibilities, infinite possibilities of expression, now we've grabbed onto just a tiny fraction, and we are trying to force that to be our eternal our eternity, our eternal way of being, our eternal identity. Okay. So it doesn't really matter what the expression is, whether it is a beautiful expression, whether it is an ugly expression, it is just an expression. The ground of being what you truly are is something completely, totally beyond any beautiful, any ugly thing. Okay. So when we are now having adopted the sense of superiority over others, then it is easy for us to condemn others. It is easy for us to criticize others. It is easy for us to want to separate ourselves from others, and wanting to separate ourselves from others in an almost permanent way, like uh, and 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 it damages that capacity for intimate knowing, intimately being able to know others, intimately being able to know what is it that someone else is suffering, how is it that someone else is living their existence at that moment. We are blinded from being able to have access to that intimate knowledge. So instead of uh, making thinking that it will make us wiser, is actually making us less wise, because we are shutting ourselves off from the vast knowledge that is in that that is just part of reality. Okay. Uh, so the no one who is rightly correctly, I should say, correctly self-righteous made the decision in the mind that I'm going to be self-righteous. Actually, these are people who actually made some sort of decision to be righteous. And it depends again on what is it that is motivating you towards that path. We have, and we can't help, we have traumas in our lives that are governing us. We have misunderstandings we have yet to understand to be misunderstandings, but instead we think of them as reality. We think of them as being wisdom. That is, we think of them as being the truth of reality, and they're governing us. And while these things are governing us, we may, while trying to be righteous, have one of these kleshik um, mental one of these afflictive attributes take over the path, and then turning this what would have become, now you are resting, you are naturally abiding in righteousness, where the main elements of righteousness are a kind of a self-awareness. These are my faults that I'm working on. This is the reality that I, as far as I'm able to ascertain. And there is a growing sense of compassion, a growing sense of sincere concern for wherever you see suffering, whether it is within you, whether it is someone close to you or people who are far from you. There's a sincere concern about it. And if you are even further on the path, there is a sense of wanting to do something about it, but not in an anxious way, not in a way where you only end up aggrandizing the ego, or look at me not being able to do that, but simply abiding in just that, in that concern, simply abiding in that wish to simply uh, it would be nice for this suffering to be alleviated, and looking sincerely at your own capacities and being able to say, do I have right here, right now, some resources to be able to do something about it? And if you don't, then you don't. But that wish to do something about it is still there. And then you still feel a sense of openness, so that if indeed the means of addressing it comes to you, your openness will be able to be able to receive it and be able to make use of it. Okay? So indeed, we are supposed to uh, see being righteous as an aim, but we're not supposed to make it is not because of ego, we should not consciously say, I'm going to try to be righteous, or we will fall into self-righteousness, but rather seek to be authentic in every situation, seek to be honest in every situation. And being honest doesn't mean only talk about beautiful things that you have witnessed within yourself, and not speaking about the things that are unpleasant or unwanted within your own being, but being honest with them. Like, and one of the being honest with it is not necessarily uh, going around and advertising these are my faults, but rather when you're in a situation and a fault of yours becomes apparent to you, then acknowledge that, this is a fault. What makes it a fault? This attitude, this behavior, this belief is actually is actually distancing me from the true aim, is actually distancing me from authentic, from a pure, authentic ground of being. That's what makes it a fault. And acknowledging it that way, and acknowledging that it is present. I'm not making it up. I'm not pretending that it is there, but it's actually there. That is being honest. And in terms of an opportunity or an event or situation where um, revealing it would be it presents itself to you, then to what capacity are you actually able to present it, to reveal it? Then you can just be honest. I'm not able to reveal that. I'm not able to talk about that. And that is also honesty, because that's where you actually are. So that's where honesty doesn't necessarily mean go advertise all your faults and then um, and also advertise all your virtues. but at every moment, at every opportunity, acknowledge what is actually present. I'm not able to do this. That is what is present. Just like uh, one of the uh, one of the vows that one takes, not vow, yeah, one of the commitments that one takes when one uh, uh, formally places oneself under the tutelage, under the guidance of what is called for as a spiritual friend, Kalyamitra. When you put yourself under that, under that relationship, within that relationship, and it is said that um, you must always obey. You must always follow what they say. But even within that, it has to be with honesty. Like you're asked to do something, and then you look within yourself. However, whatever it may be, and you say, I've searched within myself. I find that I'm not able to do this. And that's being honest. It's not just that you're lazy and you don't want to do it and you say, I can't do it, but you look within yourself and you say, I can't do it. And if laziness is the real reason for not being able to do it, and being honest with that too. So when we allow ourselves to be honest with what is actually present, that very light of honesty actually acts like um, it's like a purifier. It's like a purifying agent. It enhances the virtues, and then uh, 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 it naturally um, removes the obstacles, the obstructions. So honesty is a very powerful light, is a very powerful medicine. And a righteous person is always honest. That is, whatever is your actual experience, that is what you are acknowledging. I'm not able to do this. I'm capable to do this, but I'm lazy. I am capable of doing this. I have this ability. I don't have this ability. Okay. And being honest with what's going on. And taking this attitude into your meditation will help you skyrocket in terms of progress in meditation. My mind is very busy. I'm not just pretending that it is very, very busy. I'm actually observing, I'm actually witnessing the busyness of my mind, and I'm acknowledging it. And I'm saying that it is there. And this honesty with that would help us actually begin to help quiet the mind, so the mind is not as busy as before. Okay. Okay. So um, now let's get into some more subtle things. So you could say uh, righteousness, being righteous in the way that to be pursued, is when you're simply abiding in truth, when you're abiding in wisdom. That is being righteous. And simultaneously with that, because of the nature of reality, morality does not become some rigid set of rules that you're following, but rather the spontaneous response to, to reality, spontaneous response to your experiences while you're abiding in in your authenticity. So morality is the spontaneous response to, as a way of relating to your experiences, as a way of relating to your environment, that arises uh, uh, from you as you are abiding in your truth, abiding in your authentic nature. Okay, that's what morality is. But when morality becomes a rigid rule, a rigid set of set set that you follow, then you become it's not that having a set of rules to help you to sort of what you call think stop. quick start to sort of help you start, quick start, right? That's a term, to help you quick start so that eventually, because some people need a very strong boat of discipline where there are, it's very demarcated. It's very um, a form that is very specific. Well, no, strong discipline. They need a form, a very specific form, because that form is a very skillful means for them to eventually become free of the form. So in order for them to come to that authentic morality, they need that fake morality where it is a set of rules, there are certain numbers in them, and then you just make sure that I'm following those. And when you sincerely follow them, then eventually you actually begin to realize that, wait a minute, there isn't really a specific number. You can sort of expand that number even to triple, to quadruple the number that you have. Or you can just summarize them into just one specific rule one specific rule. So when you begin to see that, then you're beginning to sort of like break away from the form that was necessary in the beginning, but you're beginning to break away from it where it's no longer necessary. It's like you no longer needing the training wheels anymore. Now you can do a bunch of incredible tricks. Okay. By incredible tricks, meaning it appears to be immoral, but it's actually the most moral thing to do. It appears to be one way, but it's actually the most beneficial thing to do, because now you're no longer stuck to just mere appearances, because that is what's unfortunately one of the things that creates or that takes one into the path of being self-righteous. It is attached to others' perception, an attachment to others' perception, right? Uh, you want others to see you and say, "Oh, that's a righteous person," and being attached to that. So, if I, even though morally, uh, uh, the morality that is the abiding in authentic nature would require you to do something harsh, because of perception, you may not do it because of how others may perceive you. But in as far as authentic morality is concerned, you've done something immoral, something unethical. Okay, it's like a parent uh, needing to take some very strong, firm, um, very firm, uh, very firm steps with their child, but because of the child, oh, the child will not like me if I do this, and that becomes their motivation, and you don't do it, then that parent at that moment was immoral. Okay, so the the danger of self-righteousness is attachment to others' perception, uh, picking taking on a certain set of behavior to help you and becoming attached to them, um, having a preliminary set of understanding that is actually going to be helpful to you, but being attached to them. So attachment, ego is the key that turns the path towards self-righteousness. So abiding in truth, seeking authentic expression, that naturally leads to what you might call the righteousness, where someone it is there's a verse somewhere in the Dhammapada where the Buddha says just because someone is very learned, is able to speak the Dharma, doesn't mean that they're actually able to practice the Dharma. And where someone else is not doesn't have that broad of learning, doesn't have this much of learning, but is able to take one line of the Dharma and practice it well. Say that person is righteous. And the other person, even though they've studied the Dharma, they're able to memorize so many texts, and they're able to tell you, oh, this is right, this is wrong. But that person, because of their attachment to their own ego, having these kinds of things, that person is having self-righteousness. There is that reminds you of one thing where with also in the Dhammapada where what was that again? Mm. Ah, okay, never mind. So it's seeking just to simply be honest with your experiences. Eventually, you find you come to abide in righteousness. But to make deliberate decision where ego is not well tamed, it's not that you will definitely end up in having self-righteousness, but you have to be careful where you're in danger. So that means all of us are in danger of self-righteousness, especially when we find ourselves not minding our business much. Oh yes, now I remember. Uh, I forgot the name of the monk in the text, and probably it wasn't Dhammapada actually. That's why I couldn't find it. Find it in my memory. Where after the Buddha gave his monks, his followers, okay, these are the set of rules that we must follow, and it was organic. It wasn't like the Buddha had this specific set of rules, and he said, "Well, here they are." But as situation came up, as situation arose, then he said, "Okay, that's the rule. That's the rule." It's almost as if the Buddha said, "Be kind, be kind, be kind," and thank you. Be kind. And then someone said, do I also have to be kind to that person? Do I also have to be kind to that being? The main thing is just to be kind. So okay, all right. Now, okay, now you need a structure. Be kind to your mom. Be kind to your father. That's number three. Be kind to your fellow your fellow brothers and sisters. Be kind to animals. So then the number becomes increase. So that's how the rules came into being. So one of the rules was not eating after for ordained people, not to eat after the midday meal. And the midday meal was the main meal that you would have. So there was this monk who actually achieved nirvana. So that means since the rules were to help you get to nirvana, once you get to nirvana, you don't need the rules anymore. So started to eat whenever he wanted, whenever he felt like it. And one of the disciples self-righteously So that monk eating at the inappropriate time went to complain to the Buddha. Oh, Buddha, do you know so and so is eating after? So like bringing themselves, look at me, I'm following the rules, and someone else is not following the rules. Praise me. And the Buddha said, look here, I didn't give you the rules so that you become basically, I didn't give you the rules to become self-righteous. I didn't give you the rules so that you could become the police of who is watching, who is observing the rules and who is not observing the rules. I gave you the rules for yourself to take you to nirvana. And that monk, having achieved nirvana, he doesn't need the rules anymore. He's already free. Now he is practicing true morality. Okay. Um, and that last thing reminds me of something I love remembering this, where the Buddha is, forgot who the Buddha is talking to, uh, but the Buddha is talking to, I guess, some of his disciples, and he said, when an arhat sees a glass of water, and the arhat say, "Oh, look at that, a glass of water," the Buddha said, that arhat is correct. And he said, when an ordinary person sees a glass of water and says, "Oh, look, a glass of water," the Buddha said that person is completely wrong. Okay. So I don't know how exactly how that fits, but you can use that with righteousness. When you have ego controlling everything, it's not righteousness. When there's no more ego, then you don't even want to be called righteous, then you're righteous. Okay. All right. I did say I would try to end on time, and then actually I did. I think I did. First time for everything. All right. Do you have any questions? Do you think there's something I should have covered about this topic that I missed?
I have a question.
Yes.
You said the word at some point immoral, and I wonder in Buddhism, what's the difference between moral, immoral, and righteousness?
Oh, yeah. Being moral is a characteristic of righteousness. So righteousness has morality, it has wisdom, and it has self-awareness. So righteousness has many attributes, and morality is one of them. But it is, I mean, when you look deep into each one of them, they're sort of like different expressions of the same kind of the same thing. When you're truly moral, then you're righteous, and all the other qualities are there. When you're truly wise, then you're moral. So they inform each other. They don't really exist outside, completely separate from each other. They reinforce each other. It's the practice of what they call um, the three practices of more of wisdom. Uh, I'm not sure if the word I prefer proper behavior than to say ethics or morality, because ethics and morality have their slight differences where they might disagree with each other, but proper behavior, and then uh, proper mm, I don't want to use the word concentration, because that's also, it can make people, you can think of people, when they think of the word concentration, there's a lot of constipation, but rather proper yes, the Buddha described it as proper attentiveness. Okay. So those three things they reinforce and support each other. When one is weak, it weakens the others. When one is gaining strength, it strengthens the others. So righteous person has all is someone where all these three things are present, and all these three things are well developed. And morality is one of those, and one of those things. So you could say, in terms of what is immorality, immorality is basically acting from ignorance, acting outside of your authentic self. That's what it is immoral. And it leads you further into suffering. It leads you to create suffering for others. That's what is considered immoral. And morality is abiding in your true nature, abiding in your authentic way of being, where uh, you bring to yourself and others more and more bliss and benefit. All right, that's good.
Um, I have a question. So what you're talking about brings to mind a story about the Buddha that I had heard, but I don't know the details. You'll have to help me with it.
Okay.
Something like a Buddha had killed someone, and that when you think of it, if a human being kills anyone, I think that maybe they're looking at things. It's like, oh, they're wrong. They have to die. I'm right. They're wrong. Um, but the Buddha did it because the person was in the middle of killing someone. He stopped him from killing someone. If he had killed someone, his karma would have been so bad that it would have done something irreparable to his future life or something, and therefore that's why he did it. That so ultimately it was totally moral to really help the person, to really save the person.
Yeah.
But it looked not moral at all.
Yes.
So that makes what you were talking about makes me think of that.
Oh, yes. Yeah. Well, yeah. When you're practicing true morality, then you become very open to situations rather than following strict codes. So yeah, that's the story where the Buddha was on a boat with a lot of passengers, and then someone had intention to rob and murder the people, not to leave any witnesses on the boat. It was a ferry. And the Buddha, knowing this, and not out of anger towards the murderer or the would-be murderer or the would-be thief, but out of love for the would-be thief, out of love and compassion for everyone in there. So he acted. Yeah. And from the outside, it looks like, oh, well, he committed murder. But in truth, he acted out of compassion. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. So Mia, this was your topic. I hope it was covered to some degree of where it answers some questions, some of the questions you may have had. Okay. So we'll start with the stages of the path next time we meet, and we'll go. I'm thinking 8 sessions, but it may take longer because one of the topics may sort of make us have to make a detour so that we can better understand it. And the approach that I want to take is not just for being able to, oh, yeah, that's the first path, that's the second path, that's the path, that's the first section of the first path, but to be able to immediately put them into practice. Okay. All right. So very nice. We end in on time, and let's do the closing meditation. So if you can remember the experience of being in meditation, let that very memory recreate the experience. And you begin to feel exactly how the body felt when it was in meditation. And you align yourself with that. Then the breath follows. Then the mind follows. Then all the different parts of you follow. And you feel yourself tasting meditation again. And let's stabilize it. Gently, fully take a nice deep breath. Hold it. Hold it with the intention. Hold it with motivation. And as you release, let yourself go. Feel yourself going deeper into that state, deeper into the calm, deeper into the pleasantness, deeper into clarity, deeper into radiance, deeper into collected attention. And you feel yourself having reached a point that is a much more depth than before. Stay there, leave the breath alone. And let us feel our Sangha. Actually, we are all in the same place, your place, wherever it may be, even if you're watching this in the closet. Somehow the space is big enough to hold all of us, and we are sitting in a circle. And feel the sense of the complexity of I and me, all the different parts, and yet it's all me. Just like the right hand helps the left hand, thinking I'm helping myself, we allow this to expand to each other, where in the same reflex, in the same spontaneous way, the right hand want to help the left hand, saying me. We feel that for each other, readiness to help one another, thinking I'm helping myself. And that very sense of connectedness, acknowledgement of our connectedness, creates a presence in the center of our circle. And that presence is bright, shining, radiating love, radiating concern, radiating wisdom. And it begins to expand. And as it expands, it absorbs into itself everything that it touches. We completely absorb into just that one bright presence. Our neighborhood, our pets, our neighbors, our country, the world, the universe. And with our world, we feel that same instinct to help the right hand, to help the left. We feel it towards every living being. We feel it towards the ocean, towards the mountains, towards the sky, towards rivers, towards trees. And because of that, it's not a pressure of responsibility, but of freedom. And with this being very impressed in our consciousness, this realization, we no longer need an outside appearance to give us that realization. So the integrity of the world resumes, the bright light begins to shrink. And as it shrinks, whatever is made to reappear, we feel intimate connection with. And it becomes again a bright light in the center of our circle. And it divides itself and enters into our hearts. And at that moment, we feel, when I sincerely help myself, I help everyone. When I sincerely help everyone, I help myself because of interbeing. And now let go, just feel the meditation space itself, the calm, the pleasantness, whatever is pointing to clarity and radiance within your experience. Rejoice, and also present, feel the merit energy of the meditation. And as you feel it, dedicate it to whatever sincere, compassionate concern you may have, whether it's for you, for someone you know, for a place somewhere, whatever you sincerely feel compassionate concern, dedicate the merit energy to help address that concern. Okay, go back again to the sense of the meditation, the space of the meditation. Make the intention now to arise from the meditation. With that intention, take a nice deep breath. Release. And as you release, deliberately reconnect with your immediate surrounding, feeling the temperature again, being aware of the clothing, be aware of your seat, be aware of the sounds, be aware of the colors, the shapes, the lights, the shadows. Okay. All right. Thank you very much. And thank you for your continued support, for continuing to come here and to share the Dharma with us. Thank you. Good night.